Majesties invite their excellencies in their court, Ulfr and Odile, Baron and Baroness of the lands of Sternfeld.
Please, everyone, take it easy.
Their Majesties ask before them, Owl's Tower.
Your Majesties, if I might take a moment of your time. It occurs to me I've heard there might be possibility of invasion on our borders. Armies might be raised, and our armies are best served when they serve under banners. So it is the idea of House Owl's Tower to provide the Middle Kingdom with a banner, Draco Invictus, so that all may know terror when they see our banners in the sky.
And our fighters on the field.
Draco! Invictus! Invictus! Invictus!
Your Excellencies, the good generals of Owl's Tower, thank you so much. This is fantastic. Look at that dragon.
It looks hungry.
Thank you so very much. If it would please your Excellencies, I actually believe we might have business with a member of your house.
Your Majesty, as you wish.
Their Majesties ask before them. Proclaim throughout our realm, we, Cameron, king by right of arms of the Middle Kingdom, and Amelie, our queen, send heartfelt greetings. At the heart of our great society lies service. Service to one's community, service to one's chosen family, and service to a dream, which many aspire. We see all of these things in our subject, Baron Bran at Rouen, and he is a continual example of what we all strive to be, courteous at all times, in the very image of noblesse. Therefore, we are hereby minded to make Captain Bran an award of the Sapphire.
Hoorah!
You have to clean up your act now.
Your Majesty, if I might beg a moment of your time, please.
Yes?
It is important in these times of impending war that our army be as strong as possible, that it be more than just banners. Therefore, I would beg a boon of you.
A boon, you say?
Yes, there is one who should be amongst the chivalry, and I spoke too soon.
I'm fairly certain you know what I was going to say.
There is one who I believe should be counted amongst the order of the chivalry, whose presence will strike fear on the battlefield.
Who would that be?
I therefore ask you to elevate my squire, Bran at Rowan, into the order of the chivalry.
Hoorah!
One more second. Your Excellency, while this would please us very much, we must seek the counsel of the rest of the order.
I agree.
Would you please call our order of chivalry?
Their Majesties ask before them the order of the chivalry. Knights and masters, please present yourselves.
Knights and Masters assembled, is it your opinion that Bran At Rowan has displayed the noblesse, the courtesy, and the chivalry required to enter this order?
Aye!
Please call for it.
Captain Bran, would you please present yourselves before their majesties?
So soon we can get there. Bran, it is the opinion of these your peers that you have demonstrated the greater qualities, courage, chivalry, noblesse, and honesty. So they would number you among their order. Would you take this burden upon yourself? Then go and sit your vigil. Dwell on your hearts and your deeds. All those who taught you, who you learned from, and whose shoulders you stood upon. Consider the actions that have brought you here. Consider the path that you've taken. And at a court at a future date, please seek us out for entry into this room. The newest vigilant of the Middle Kingdom, Bran At Rowan. Good night, please. I can with you.
Their majesties ask before them, Edric of Greenfield.
Over there.
Edric, I understand that you have something for us.
Yes, Your Majesty. Today, the Constellation Archery Tournament was held, and I wanted to just announce who the winner was.
No, please, by all means. Be loud. It's a big space.
Today's Constellation Archery Tournament brought forth a new champion. Today's champion is Edvard Guldolf.
Here we go. He's sauntering this way now, Your Majesty. Edvard, I understand that you shot very well today. Very fortunate. Very, very fortunate. Oh, I'm humbled you do. Well, you are to be congratulated for your skill. I hope that you will take the field soon again to represent us. For the Constellation Archery Champion. Huzzah! Thank you so much.
Their majesties ask before them, Duke Stephen of Beckingham.
Father.
This day there is business before this court that I must come to you for. Cedric Adolphus has sat his vigil and looks to come forward for that appellation, an accolade that you would give him.
Their majesties call forth Cedric Adolphus.
charge you this day to enter the order of chivalry. Is this something you still wish to do? No. So, Cedric, having sat this vigil, having thought well upon your actions and deeds, we would hear more counsel before we would take such a permanent and terrible action. Is there a royal peer who would attest to the nobility in this man?
Your Majesty, please you, I will speak to that.
Please, your grace.
I am Duke Uller Amaranth. I see many friendly faces here, so I need not extol my own virtue. Rather, I'll talk about a young man who stood with me on a field many miles south of here. And he's told me since that I was his first king, and he has looked to me as a hero and as someone he wished to emulate. Your Majesty, this is not true. I am a shell. The man who kneels before you has the kernel in his heart of all the nobility of the world. For in him, he sees not only what must be done, but what steps he must take to do that. I've watched him grow in ways beyond counting. From a young man just interested in his fun at an event to a man who gives counsel and gives service and gives of his time. He may say that he wishes to emulate us, but we should be emulating his nobility. Majesties, I commend this man to you under all of the chivalric virtues that I hold dear.
Thank you. Is there a companion of the Order of the Laurel who will attest to Cedric's prowess in the arts and sciences?
Aye, Your Majesty, there is. As many know that the Knights of the House of Beckenham must strive in more than one area, not just fighting. Many find their way in service, some have found their way to thrones, and many more find their ways in arts. So too has Cedric striven to find an art, and while he has tried many, the one that he is particularly well known for is his calligraphy, although most never see it. It is a beautiful hand that he tries, a beautiful hand which he creates for others, small works of art that most never see. But there is also an art which he does display for others. If a man could be said to hold adoration for his lady love as an art, Cedric has done so. Your Majesty, I commend him to you.
Is there a companion of the Order of the Pelican who will attest to this candidate's service?
Yes, Your Majesty, if I may. I'm not Bellinor. I'm Eleanor of the Flames. I would speak of Cedric and the service he has provided for the kingdom and barony as well. What's interesting is many years ago, I was able to speak on behalf of his lady, his inspiration, at their wedding. And at that time I thought, well, I don't know him very well. I'm going to keep an eye on him. And I have to say I am really glad I did, because I was able to watch him grow into the peer you see before you. He is strong. He is dedicated to service, to prowess, and to his inspiration. I could think of no better person to join the chivalry than Cedric.
I understand that there may be a master of defense who would speak to your talent with the blade.
Majesties? I'm Meister Peter Grau from Bremen, Premier of your Order of Defense. I've had the honor of knowing the Vigilant for many, many years, growing up in my home shire. And I say growing up because I saw him as a young man, new to the blade, new to the arts, new to service. And you could see in everything he did how hard he tried and how he strove. And every action was deeply felt and well done, but it was obviously work. And on the field of combat, the man who's working hard, you can see, it may be a risk, but the man who stands and takes all comers with ease and what we call sprezzatura is the man to fear. He no longer has to work. It's no longer by art, but by nature that this man's service and skill and prowess serves his crown and his kingdom. Your Majesties, I am proud to say, Cedric Adolphus is my peer, and I thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, is there a member of the Order of the Chivalry who will attest to Cedric's courtesy and chivalric nature?
I will if it pleases your Majesties.
Please, champions.
When it comes to this Vigilant, what makes a knight? Prowess, accountability, nobility, largesse. I can speak of all of these things in spades for this man. I know no one better with a sword. I know no one more loyal than the son of wolves here. There is no man I have met that I would count more fit to be in our order than Cedric Adolphus. And to Cedric Adolphus, as a loyal vassal, always remember to the enemies of the crown, pursue and slay.
Cedric, mindful of the counsel that we've heard, we will offer you entry into this order. Someone for the Order of Chivalry.
Your Majesty calls before them again, the Order of the Chivalry.
Good knights assembled, and vigilance too. Is it your opinion that this man be worthy to be numbered amongst your order?
Aye!
Cedric, right mindful of your prowess on the field and responsive to the wishes of your peers, we are minded to make you knight. Know that to wear the belt and chain of a knight is to hold a sacred trust. The obligations of knighthood will demand your efforts every moment of your life. A knight of the society must be respectful of all religions, never offending the faith of another. A knight must respect all who are weak or defenseless, whether because of age, infirmity, poverty, or vow, and be steadfast in defending them. A knight must love his kingdom and his province and fulfill most faithfully his feudal duties to both his baron and to his king. His word must be dependable beyond doubt or question. He must never flee from the face of his foes. He must be generous to all, and always and everywhere he must be a champion of the right and of the good. The laws of the society and the customs of the kingdom require a knight be proud, which you have demonstrated you are upon the field. That a knight be courteous, as you have shown yourself to be, and as these noble gentlemen and ladies attest. And that a knight be loyal to his kingdom and the society. I'll ask you once more, do you then desire to accept the burden of knighthood and swear fealty to the crown? Cedric, I would love to take your oath, but there is one I must release you from before.
Your Majesty. Cedric, when first I took you as squire, he was as a big lump of clay. And you had a thirst within you, and I could see deep inside you the knight that wanted to come forth. I was
was very proud to take you as a squire. But perhaps the proudest moment was at a recent gathering where we discussed at a far distant war, where I had mentioned how you had helped others when you could have easily gone and taken shelter yourself. You did not say, well, whatever, I'm supposed to. You said, I had that service, I must take care of people. And I said, I'm proud of you. At that point, you were a knight. Now it is for their majesties to make that so. Majesties, to you. Cedric Adolphus, will you hear your vote?
I here swear fealty to homage, proud to ever be a good knight, reverent, generous, shield, obedient to my liege lord, foremost in battle, courteous at all times, champion the right to govern. I swear.
This we hear and shall never forget, nor fail to reward that which is given. Fealty with love, service with honor, and oath-breaking with vengeance.
Is there a belt?
Ah, your majesties, there is.
Does it have a story?
It does have a story. This belt has been worn by the knights of Beckenham in defending the crown, both in steel and rattan. It has been passed down from knight to knight to myself, and I do gift this to Cedric.
Honor, thank you so much. Wear this belt as a token of your prowess. Is there a chain?
Aye, Your Majesty, there is. The Knights of Beckenham have a unique chain. It is unique in that the stamp that made the medal has been destroyed. There are no more. Other than the knights that we have. The ones we have.
There's one more? Is there another chain?
No. There's only one more of those chains.
Oh, yes. I know. Oh, I know. Cedric, wear this chain as a token of your fealty. May it never be lost. Are there spurs?
Ah, your majesty.
Assuming it's any lineage. Please.
These are the oaken spurs. They bear an august lineage. Started with Eichbrander, Finn, Edmund, Osmundus, William, David, Omerod, Michael, Ephraim, Kernan, William, Gilak, Bonner, Rin, Parug, Lothar, Nikolai, Talamar, Ishmael, Richard, Randolph, Alaric, Robert, Thomas, Valhoric, Thorfinn, Ullard, Vitus, Baldwin, Ustad, Dmitri, Nigel, Kjartan, Luther, Ragnar, Axel, Kalik, Rutger, Gunnar, Cadigan, Farthen, Silverthorn, Eckel, Arter, Boris, Callum, Crispin, Ingram, Nicholas, Odo, Ulrecker, Drust,
Kistrian, Winthane, Jamie, Makana, and now Cedric.
Cedric, wear these spurs, an outward token of your social. The knight must have a sword.
Majesty, this is a particular sword that has nothing but his name upon it, maybe perhaps a little of our blood from when it was clean.
Cedric, bear your sword with strength, so disposing your heart to goodness that you never use it to injure anyone unjustly, but always use it to defend the just and the right. Bear these blows and no others. In remembrance of oaths given and received, in remembrance of your lineage and obligations, be thou here, brother. Sir Cedric Adolphus, everybody.
Be it known that we, Cameron and Amelie, sovereigns of the Middle Kingdom, in consideration of his courtesy, chivalry, and skill both on and off the field of battle, do recognize Cedric Adolphus as a knight of the Society for Creative Anachronism, to be in all places of honor numbered as a peer of our realm, and a member of the Order of Chivalry.
Your Majesty, we may have your views on Mark.
Sir Knights, please. Not our fault.
For Sir Cedric, Hubba!
Their Majesty calls forward Captain Esquire Hudson.
Eskel Haraldson.
Eskel Harrelson.
Stand off to the side.
Here now, the unbelted champions of the Middle Kingdom. Captain Eskel, Sergeant Magnus, Ulrich, Captain Victor, Baron Fergus, Captain Almaric, Sergeant Justice, Sergeant Segendus, Sergeant Shamazu, Christoph, Baron Ulfer, Captain Duncan, Sergeant Miley, Johann, Kyojo, Magnus, Baron Marcus, Captain Ivan, Sergeant Rothgar, Sergeant Sirius, Avangar, Corvus, Baron John, Abdul, Bastion, Erie, Captain Agnes, Warder Marcos, Captain Anand, Captain Mayone, Captain Hingis, Sergeant Craven, Luis, Sergeant Lionel, Fox of Darkyard, Malachi, Sergeant Ulbane, Earl, Harun, Thelvold, Haruk, Magrat, Gilchrist, Albrecht. These are the unbelted champions of the Middle Kingdom.
Invictus!
I'd like to thank all down belts who have come out this year and fought hard in every practice. There's been sweat, some blood, maybe even some tears. But it couldn't be done without the support of their ladies, their majesties, and of course our kingdom. So thank you all.
Captain Eskel, if you would please.
For Captain Eskel, huzzah!
Huzzah!
Their Majesties call forward Warder Adam Carmichael. These are the rapier champions of the Middle Kingdom. Angus, Findus, Sampkin, Abule, Christian, Peter, Van Dorn, Titus, Kalen, Anton, Nerissa, Mara, Neku, Rainbow, Cecily, Cole, Philip, Raphael, Vladimir, Lars, Lisbetta, Zito, Azrael, Firgas, Alexander, Zhao, Berkey, Darius, Adam, Carmichael, and Gunter. These are the rapier champions of the Middle Kingdom. Huzzah!
I'm not as eloquent as my rattan counterpart, but I can tell you I've been doing this for 16 years, and this is about as scary a wad of meat as you'll ever see on the rapier field. So, I hold all of them in high regard, and I know we will do well. We'll bring honor and hopefully victory.
For Captain Adam Carmichael and the Rapier Champions, huzzah! Their Majesties ask before them Dame Nicola Halden.
Thank you so much for agreeing to see me. I have taken note throughout your reign that you are most generous with giving awards, and it seems to give you great pleasure. However, this has a tendency of emptying the treasury, so I would like to replenish these. I have for you, in addition to the coronets I provided as circlets previously in additional 15. And because I admire service, I have given some hearts for you to also bestow.
Not to cut you short. Those are.
Enjoy them. And I have an extra item that you may give as largesse.
Thank you so much, Mistress. You're very generous. A true example of largesse.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to serve you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes.
While I'm here, I have an issue that I would like to bring to you. I have something that vexes me, and you are known far and wide as being very, very wise and humble.
Wow. You heard it. From someone who is wise. You heard it. We solve problems. We will try. We'll do our best. How can we help you?
Well, I've had a situation that has been vexing. There's an individual within your kingdom who is very, very busy, and apparently is so busy that they cannot remember certain of their obligations. And in this particular case, this very busy person who has served you both on and off the field and has been my protege for many, many years, decided to tell me that he was moving.
So he left you all by yourself.
I had to find out from his cadet that he was 2 regions over.
Aha.
And this is a situation we should do something about.
Well, it's certainly hard to have a student over so great a distance. What can we do to help you with this problem?
Well, I considered this, and I think at this time, Your Majesty, if I would beg of you.
Of whom? Of whom? It would be a right and proper thing and within our power to grant, and it shall be yours.
I would ask that you place on vigil my protege, Anton Kumar, for the order of the
Understandably, it's insulting. Of course you can. Please call forth the order of the Pelican.
Their Majesties ask before them the masters and mistresses of the Order of the Pelican.
You called, your wisdom.
Whatever, writing.
It's lefty now.
It's left. I got it. Good masters and mistresses, is it your opinion that this individual has displayed the greater qualities of service, noblesse, and courtesy, and should be counted amongst your order?
Aye.
Please call Anton Dumas.
Their Majesties ask before them Master Anton Dumas.
Hey, killer. I think
Anton, it is the opinion of these your peers that you are worthy to join this order. If you wish to take this order, do you so wish? Then go and sit your vigil. Think long, think hard on your actions and your deeds, and those who have taught you and led you and guided you, helped you down the path, and who have made you into the person that you are today. At a point and a fitting date, you out, and we will grant you admission.
You're good. Okay.
They had to blame you. The newest vigilant for the Order of the Pelican, Anton Dumouriez.
Their Majesties call before them Leela the Red, Layla the Red.
That one. Like in the song.
We, Cameron, being king by right of arms of the Middle Kingdom, and Amelie, our queen of love and beauty, are pleased to bestow upon Layla the Red the right to style herself Baroness of our court for her service to the king and queen. We confirm and acknowledge her all rights, titles, and badges of this rank without let or hindrance from any person.
I'll figure it out.
So for many who don't know, Layla here has been the beating heart of our reign. Many royal peers will tell you that reigns are very taxing. We like to make it look easy, but it's really hard. And as two people, you literally cannot do it by yourself. You need so much help. All of the events, all of the planning, all of the theater, the courts, everything. And for those people who are the beating heart of your reign, you just cannot do it without them. The 11 o'clock phone calls, the emails that you miss that they remind you of 14 times, sometimes 15. They do everything for you, and they really help make you look way more competent than you actually are. And this is Layla for us. Her newest excellency of the Middle Kingdom, Layla the Red. We'll figure it out.
Their Majesties call before them Master Cecil Dupont.
Majesty.
That's just fun. Good Master Cecil, I understand you have some business to report.
I do. For being one of the sharpest teeth in the rapier dragon army,
I suggest and advise you to accept Warder Vindus as part of the most noble order of defense.
Your Majesty's call forward, Warder Vindus!
Vindus, so we have heard recommendation from Cecil that you be admitted to this order, but we would hear more counsel before taking such a permanent tearing action. Is there a knight who would attest to Vindus's chivalry upon the field?
Aye, my lord. May I have your permission to speak?
Please.
I am Alan Culross, the 56th Knight of the Middle Kingdom. I have been in a unique position in that I have spent most of the last decade trying to kill this man and failing miserably. When I became a knight, there were really two things that were very, very important. I find both of these things in Vindus. First, prowess. If you've ever seen him on the rapier field where he's dancing around, that big man can move like nobody's business, and then he has this absolutely nightmarish blow which just leaps out from his hand and hits you on the top of the head before you have any idea it was there. His prowess on the field is incredible. On the other side is service to his group and to those other members which he serves, which he has dutifully carried out as long as I have been part of the rapier practice in Minas Sera. These two characteristics, characteristics of Vindus make him ultimately qualified to become a Master of Defense. Thank you, Your Majesty.
And the true mark of a peer is whether they are loved not by the great lords and ladies of station, but by those who do not hold such a high place in our society. I understand that there is a member of the populace who would speak for you.
There is, Your Majesty. I am Professor Peter Van Dorn. I would add to the chivalric virtues that Sir Alan so ably enumerated of Vindus, specifically humility. Indeed, I can prove my point with this simple observation. The only rapier combatant here present who has any doubt whatsoever that Vindus is worthy to be a Master of Defense is Vindus.
And I understand that there is a Master of Defense who would speak for you still. Is there?
Majesty, there is.
Ah, Meister.
Beg your leave to address your populace once more.
Please.
Good to see you again.
My friends, I come to speak to you about my brother Vindus. Vindus and I picked up the sword within days of each other. And I have never met a truer, stronger hand on any field, in any work, in any service than Vindus. And every man and woman who comes into an order brings to their order and their own personal qualities and characteristics. And I've talked to many people about that when they ask about who we are looking at for the Order of Defense and what we look for as individual masters. And what I see in Vindus is his joy in all things that he brings to the field, that he brings to his work, and that he brings to every person he meets. And that love, service, unquestionable prowess, and joy makes him, without a doubt, my peer. Thank you for letting me speak for my brother.
Their Majesties call forward the masters and mistresses of the Order of Defense.
Good masters, Vigilant. Is it your opinion that Vindus has demonstrated the great qualities of noblesse, courtesy, and prowess upon the field that should be numbered amongst your order?
Yes!
Vindus, right mindful of your prowess in the art of defense and responsive to the wishes of these, your peers, we are resolved to create you the Master of Defense. Know that to wear the collar of a Master of Defense is to hold a sacred trust that the obligations of peerage will demand your efforts every moment of your life. A Master of Defense must be honorable in all things, bearing with courage all trials and tribulations. A Master of Defense must love virtue above himself, being willing to sacrifice himself in its defense. A Master of Defense must ever be mindful of the power of his weapon, tempering its use with mercy and forbearing unwarranted violence. A Master of Defense must love his kingdom and his province, and must fulfill most faithfully his feudal duties to his baron and to his king. His word must be dependable beyond doubt or question. He must never flee from the face of his foes. He must be generous to all, and always and everywhere he must be the guardian of the just and the right. The laws of the society and the customs of the kingdom require that a master possess exceptional prowess, as you have demonstrated on the field. That a master be courteous, as you have shown yourself to be, and as these noble gentlemen attest. And that a master be loyal to his kingdom and to the society. Knowing these things, do you then still accept the burden of peerage? Is there a collar? Vindus, take from our hands this symbol of nobility and token of our esteem. Wear it proudly that all may recognize your skills and service as we have acknowledged this day. Is there a sword?
May I tell a quick story about this sword? Thank you, Max. May I just talk it? I was lucky enough to have Vindus as my cadet. And 14 years ago, I won this sword in the Kingdom Rapier Championships. His Majesty Valhalric gave the sword to me in court. And I never wore this sword because as fencers, when we were called in court, we would leave our swords in a pile in the middle of the aisle because we had no patent order and we did not swear fealty. Now we have a patent order. And it's my pleasure to pass this on. I speak out to all the people here who have students. We all love all our students. You know, we love the ones who bring life to the SCA, who are amazing teachers. But Vindus, you see, Vindus was my family's swordsman. And he deserves this weapon. Majesty.
Vindus, bear your sword with skill, so disposing your heart to goodness, that you never use it to injure anyone unjustly, but always use it to defend the just and the right. I understand there's a cloak.
Yes.
Vindus, wear this cloak an outward token of your new station. Are you prepared to speak? You're going This we hear and shall never forget, nor fail to reward that which is given. Fealty with love, service with honor, and oath-breaking with vengeance.
Proclaim throughout the noble, ancient, victorious, and brave kingdom of the Middle, all gentles and nobles know that we present, that we, Cameron and King by right of arms of the Middle Kingdom, and Amelia our Queen, in consideration of his courtesy, skill, and honor, both on and off the field, are mindful to recognize our subject, Vindus Sigerson, as a master of defense of the society.
The newest Master of Defense of the Middle Kingdom, Vindus Sigdrickson.
Drago! Invictus!
Please, good masters, take it with you.
Vindus, which monasteries did you read that from?
Okay.
Their Majesties call before them Adela of Arrington.
Not here.
Their Majesties call before them Emmeline Vancaster. We, Amelie, Queen of the Middle Kingdom and patroness of the arts and sciences, and Cameron, our King.
It'll be all right.
It's gonna hurt me.
No.
Later, Gilchrist will explain to you how these things go.
As I was saying, Cameron, our King, right mindful of the skills Emelina Vancaster has displayed in the arts of painting, especially painting of arms and armaments. And therefore we do recognize her as a companion of our Order of the Willow. Gremlin, huzzah! Their Majesties call before them, Nerissa della Badessa. We, Amelie, Queen of the Middle Kingdom and patroness of the arts, and Cameron, our king, right mindful of the skills Nerissa has displayed in the art of silk banner making, we are minded to recognize her a companion of our Order of the Willow. For Warder Nerissa, huzzah! Their Majesties call before them, Mara, Eric's daughter. To all singular in whom these presents come, know that we, Cameron, king by right of arms, and Amelie, our queen, are mindful of the superior skill, leadership, and exemplary service Mara has given to the rapier legions of our kingdom. Therefore, do we recognize her as a companion of our Order of the Bronze Ring. Your Majesty's asked before them the Order of the Bronze Ring!
Yeah, you get this now.
It goes back to our apartment either way.
Oh, it's actually a joke. I understand there's a scarf. There are a couple of
Scarves. Take something back. Majesty, this scarf is our line. Uderick, Brigid, myself, and now Mara. And also, Brigid's field scarf, given to me at my bronze ring on the field of fencing.
Where's A first?
Ah, you got the ring.
You're not going to make something with back injury.
Do you want me to do the thing? Okay. I'm sorry if I hurt you. Won't hurt that part. Okay. You ready? No more scars.
There is another gorge.
My pelican did this. It's appropriate.
Why not? He did it for Virginia. He's The newest warder of the Middle Kingdom, Mara Eriksdottir. Trade off, trade off.
Just carry her.
No. On the palanquin. The palanquin fashion.
Their Majesties ask before them, Duke Stephen of Buckingham.
One more time I find myself before you, Your Majesty.
He's the last one, though.
He is indeed the last one.
All right.
This round. I would ask that, since he has sat vigil and is determined today to be when he comes before you, seeking that accolade that you said would be given, to have Galen the Traveler come before you.
Their Majesties ask before them, Galen the Traveler.
So Galen, as you were charged this morning, you sat your vigil. All of the advice of the council you received has not turned you away from the path, and you still would seek entrance to the order of the chivalry. My good mother and father's counsel being weighted as heavily as it is, I would seek yet more counsel to determine whether this is truly a good fit for you. Is there a royal peer who will attest to Galen's courtesy and chivalry?
Your Majesty, I find myself once again running before you. May I?
Please, Your Grace.
The responsibility of a royal peer is to speak to a candidate's nobility and their chivalry. I would believe that Galen does not recall the moment we met. But Galen, I do. Galen, I would hazard to say you do not recall what was happening or what happened that day. But I do. Galen, probably does not remember each act of nobility and every virtue that he presses upon the rest of us because it is such a part of his nature that he does not call it a virtue. It is merely his heart. I have known Galen a very long time, and this man has been a knight for a long time. And he is my peer, and it is my pride to speak for him.
Is there a member of our noble order of the Pelican who would speak to Galen's service?
There is, your majesties. If I may be so bold to address your populace. I'm Aaron Polydames of Buckminster, and I've been a Pelican for a little while. When you have the name, the Traveler, that is a geas upon you to make sure that you affect the society across its whole. And Galen has done that. From the travels that he has made to many kingdoms. I know this well, for I have traveled with him. I have slain foes with him in many kingdoms. But his renown is such that people have sought me out to tell me, there's this cool dude who came and visited, beat us all up and left. He was awesome. His grace spoke to the fact that it is so ingrained in his being that he does not understand how good he is doing. Every report I have seen has been exemplary from Galen's service. From fetching water and helping fighters to running events impromptu. He is most certainly my peer, your majesties. I commend him to you most highly.
Is there a master or mistress of the Order of the Laurel who would attest to his talents in the arts and sciences?
Yes, your majesty. What I would address the populace and speak on this issue.
Please, champion.
I have known Galen for a long time, and I have taken a special interest in this man for a very long time. I can speak that he helps many people put together their armor and get people on the field and get them out there and get them moving. And that is a good and right thing. But more than that, I think that he shows the art of living well. I see it in how he treats his lady, I see it in how he treats people. This man is a gentleman, and I think that his character and his bearing and his demeanor, more than anything else, he has taken this to an art. If you look at him, he breathes this. He just lives it easily. This man is my peer, and I commend him to you highly. Thank you.
Is there a master of the Order of Defense who would speak to his prowess with the blade?
There is, your majesty. I am Baron Adam Coman. I am the 7th defender of the Mill Kingdom, and it is my honor to speak to Galen. If I may address your populace. Sputsura is described as the art of making the hard look easy. You can also arguably use the word franchise. Somebody who gives freely, not because they have to, not because they want to, but because it is at the core of their being. They are completely incapable of doing otherwise. I have watched Galen give to his barony, his region, his kingdom, his society, and I can think of nobody that I would wish to call peer who is not yet labeled as such, except the man before you today.
Thank you. Galen, I'm not sure I've heard enough. Many people don't know how Galen and I first met. That was a mildly charged day when I met a gentleman that I was going to butt heads with over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it's fitting that your charge is a bull. I would ask if there's a member of the Rose who has helped him tame this hot head and this temper.
Aye, Your Majesty. I am Duchess Alina of Beckenham, a laurel, pelican, and knight of the society. But today I speak to you as a rose. For it is truth that we very rarely remember the first time we meet someone. And so this is true with Galen of the Traveler and I. Long before I came to the Midrealm, long before the Midrealm was my home more than a dozen years ago, Galen and I met in Atlantia. He had tattooed on his shoulder, typical Atlantean thug. His charge indeed, a bull. However, his crown charged him that day with the duty of seeing me as a guest of their kingdom, an honored speaker to their populace, to come and be the epitome of grace and courtesy. He was essentially my right hand, to take me where I needed to go, to provide the things of which I needed to be, and to be my escort throughout the day. He was not stellar at it. When he came to the Midrealm, he specifically sought to be his Grace's squire. And it was at that time we said, there is much work here to be done. But he took this lessons, and he took them well. Today, he is a person who serves where he can, who is courteous to the best of his ability, and who truly tries to serve the populace. Your Majesty, I am proud to say that while no bull can be fully tamed, he has learned some measure of courtesy, and I commend him to you.
Thank you. All right. Take out. Please call forth our order of the chivalry.
Your Majesties, call before them the order of the chivalry. Masters and knights, please present yourselves.
Is it your opinion that Galen the Traveler has demonstrated the greater qualities of noblesse, courtesy, and prowess upon the field, and should be considered a member of your order?
Aye!
Galen, right mindful of your prowess on the field and responsive to the wishes of these, your peers, we are to make you a knight. Know that to wear the belt and chain of a knight is to hold a sacred trust. The obligations of knighthood will demand your efforts every moment of your life. A knight of the society must be respectful of all religions, never offending the faith of another. A knight must respect all those who are weak or defenseless, whether because of age, infirmity, poverty, or vow, and be steadfast in it. A knight must love his kingdom and his province and fulfill most faithfully his feudal duties to his baron and to his king. His word must be dependable beyond doubt or question. He must never flee from the face of his foes. He must be generous to all, and always and everywhere he must be a champion of the right and the good. The laws of the society and the customs of the kingdom require that a knight be proud as you've demonstrated you are upon the field, and that a knight be courteous as you've shown yourself to be, and as these noble gentlemen and ladies have been, and that a knight be loyal to his kingdom and the society. I'll ask you one more time, so you then desire to accept the burden of knighthood and swear fealty to the crown. This do we hear and shall never forget, nor fail to reward that which is given. Fealty with love, service with honor, and oath-breaking with vengeance. Is there a belt?
Yes, Your Majesty. But first I must take the one who wears.
Ah, I've got to release you.
Stand up. You were the 15th squire, excuse me, the 14th squire. We had the 15th squire earlier. You are the 14th squire, but you are the 12th knight of Beckenham. Do not hold that lightly. Each and every one of you go out into the world and show what it means to be courteous and honorable, defending all those that you may, and showing that you have humility as well as franchise. And I do not expect any less from you than I have all the others. Back to the belt, this lady. That belt, Your Majesty, I have worn fighting for many, many, many years, which seems fitting for the bull who has fought for many, many, many years, and now sees the end of that tunnel, that he may start over, turn around, and walk back through it with each other.
Galen, wear this belt as a token of your prowess. Is there a chain?
Most assuredly, Your Majesty. So Galen has traveled. This chain has traveled from our home of the West, worn by Viscount Chad Vitor, twice Prince of the Mists. Your prowess there is known. It has been echoed. It has been repeated. And I can think of no finer brother to wear this chain from my home than you.
Wear this chain as a token of your youth. May it never depart. Are there spurs?
The spurs come to us again from the west to members of our household, specifically given for members of our household.
Huzzah. You said always. Wear these spurs, an outward token of your new station. Is there a sword?
There is, Your Majesty. Sword for the knighting and Duchess of Beckenham.
Bear your sword with strength, so disposing your heart to goodness that you never use it to injure anyone unjustly, but always use it to defend the just and the right. Galen, bear these blows and no others. In remembrance of oaths given and received, in remembrance of your lineage and obligations. Thou.
Oh.
for Galen the Traveler of the Middle Kingdom. Your Excellencies, do you have something you'd like to say? Please.
Once again, a simple day has been upon us. With all the work and all the joys of setup, tear down, but really with the joys of fighting and the arts. Today we had archery, we had armored combat, and we had rapier combat. When I first got here this morning, I was tired. I had joined the rapier community in their cookie tournament last night as an observer and had enjoyed a little too long. I got here, and very shortly thereafter, the rapier community inspired me. They were on the field earlier than I was really functional, and they were doing it well. We had authorizations galore today, both new and advanced authorizations on the heavy field. We had about, I wish Dietrich were, we had at least 10, 15 authorizations. Several of them new. This is awesome to me, because if we do not get the new blood, we do not learn more from others. And as we've heard, there was archery today. People took the time to go out and shoot their beautiful arrows. I love archery, I really do. I don't get to do it enough. It is more focused than anything else that I do. And this is the simplest simple day we've done in a while due to a recent largish event that was held in this area called 50 Year event. So this is the simplest simple day we've done. And it was capped this evening. Prior to this, all the nobles that were elevated to their just position by what was the happiest thing I saw. A man, just out of the blue, saw a woman walking with her bags. And he stopped. And he, out of the blue, I don't even know if he was going the same way, offered to her. That was the most beautiful thing I saw today. And I thank you for sharing it with me. Wow.
There being no further business, this hereby closes the court of their Majesties Cameron and Amelie. Rise and make way as they process off to a wonderful feast. And for their Excellencies, Ulfr and Obi